So like hopefully Tony Khan, he'll get off the Ashley Larry and actually watch this video and other videos on some good constructive criticism. So my big thing, and I have my list, is that Marina Shafir needs female opponents. And I've said this many, many times that with the Death Riders, it's like 5 people. So they need to have 5 people rated FTR. And then you also have Hobbs and Athena. And the reason why you need to do this is that you can really elevate the women's division. And, you know, Marina Shafir is a hardcore, badass type of woman. Like, she honestly looks a little bit like China. Like, she has the same type of fierceness, intimidation, you know, glaring eyes, and, you know, hard-hitting moves, really. So it really, really baffles me that they don't have a bunch of women that she can feud with. I really don't like how Athena has been the ROH champion for like 2 years. I've actually known people who don't know that Athena is actually in Ring of Honor. You have to make her, you know, have some challenges. So you can have Athena and she can feud with Marina Shafir. Then it leads to a Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Athena loses the title. You put on Marina Shafir, and then maybe you feud with other women. Like, what would happen if Marina Shafir beats up Billy Starks? Or what would happen if she has other friends on the AEW roster? Or what would happen if you have Toni Storm versus Marina Shafir, Marina and Willow, or Marina and Penelope Ford, or Chris Statlander, or another woman, you know? So definitely there are a lot of feuds and stories that you can do. And then in addition to that, you can create anarchy in the arena. You can have 5-on-5, except this year you have 1 woman in it on each team, really. So that would be a little different. That would be a little crazy, you know, as well, really. You see, you know, you see like FTR and Adam Copeland do the shield bomb on Marina Shafir, or you see Marina Shafir, you know, like throw Cash Wheeler off a balcony or something like that. You know, those would be good, shocking moments for all that, you know. So it would really, really add if they added females into this and opponents for Marina Shafir within this feud. My next thing is that Orange Cassidy needs to become serious. That honestly, he needs to do a very strong character change. And he's been out for a while. So I really think that, you know, if he comes back and he wants to take on the Death Riders, what he can do is that he just like drops the whole like stupid comedy type of thing. He's like, you know, he's almost like a John Cena where he cares about the company. He has like that Daniel Garcia type of intensity of, you know what, I care about this motherfucker and I'm gonna hold it down. And then you kind of make him almost like Austin and Owen, where like you see Austin like bleeding and passing out. Like you kind of make it like he's that person who doesn't give up. He's kind of like that smaller guy that's like, you know what, you have to hit me with, you know, 50 atomic bombs, you know. So I really think that you can make Orange Cassidy a really serious character and change his character, and I think that would make a lot of people gravitate towards him. My next thing is make Hobbs a top heel or a top babyface. I've said this in a couple of videos that one thing you can do to make him a babyface is actually have him join Team Rated FTR and they have a series of matches, or you could do something where you could make him a top heel. He joins the Death Riders. So my next idea is Moxley has a loser leave AEW matches, or he does career versus championship matches. And I think that this would do one of 2 things. You can get rid of a lot of people on the roster, and then Moxley does something like where he goes to people's houses and who have not been wrestling for months. He does home invasions, he attacks them and drags them back into AEW, forces them to have a match and gets rid of a bunch of people. That would create a lot of heel heat. But I also think that this would be good because there are a lot of people on the roster like Brandon Cutler who need to go, or you look at somebody like Ethan Page. You know, what would happen if they actually did a segment where they kidnap him or they drag him behind a car and they bring him to the ring and he has a match with Jon Moxley and Jon Moxley beats the shit out of him and then he's out, and then you kind of do it to a bunch of people on the AEW roster. Like he's systematically, you know, doing gang warfare type of stuff, really. I think that would be a good angle, and then also gets heel heat for getting rid of people. And then some people could say maybe you are a villain, like maybe you're a charismatic villain, because some people can say, okay, that's very like much like an anti-hero where you're forcing people to have matches with you, and in that process, you're getting rid of people who are lightweights and people who don't care about AEW as much as you want them. Just do a Ring of Honor invasion. Is you can set up a bunch of matches like Marina Shafir versus Athena, or you can do something where you can have Big Cass betray the Jericho learning tree and join actually the Death Riders. Then you can do Jericho versus Big Cass. You can do Powerhouse Hobbs as a heel joining the Death Riders and taking the title off of Jericho, or Jericho can join the Death Riders, and they're kind of they're the Ring of Honor chapter, and then you have a bunch of people like Rated FTR on the Ring of Honor shows, and also Hobbs and Athena versus Marina Shafir. You kind of do that against the Learning Tree. You kind of do that again. You have Rated FTR with Hobbs and Athena against the Learning Tree, and then you also have them against the other one, which is the Death Riders, and then that way you can lead to matches. Because honestly, you really need to think about your Ring of Honor buy. If you have like big stars or you have matches that make sense, you can get more than 1,000 people, or that you can get more than 1,000 people. Because remember, some of the Ring of Honor shows, like the one Arlington, Texas, I think they got like maybe 300 to 700 people last year, and Tony's acting like that's a big deal. I think at one point they got like 8,000 people years and years ago. So they really need to say, okay, we gotta do a Ring of Honor type of invasion, because we have to make sure that pay-per-view buy is stronger and create future opponents and future champions and all the other really great stuff. That's really going to help the company. The next thing is that you have to consider future opponents for Jon Moxley. So one of them would be Eddie Kingston. Obviously, it's like, we're friends. What the hell are you doing? I just came back and I want to matter. And Eddie Kingston has a very emphatic voice. You can use that. Kenny Omega goes without saying. He beat Moxley before. And then the other thing about Kenny Omega is that they could do another exploding barbed wire death match, or they can do another bloody hardcore type of thing. You can really sell the injuries, so that would work. You can do Luchasaurus, actually, and one thing you can do is have Luchasaurus come back and take the contract from Christian Cage, and then you have Luchasaurus versus Moxley, and that would be good because, obviously Luchasaurus, the mask and everything like that, that would be like, he would be like the Ultimate Warrior, where he'd have the mask and have the gimmick that people would like, really, like the kids would like, so that would be good. Another person could be Sammy Guevara. So if you do a Ring of Honor invasion, you can have the Death Riders try to take the tag team titles off of Dustin and Sammy. You can have Sammy respond by attacking Moxley, and they would have a good match because they're both like hard-hitting people, really. So I really think that you can kind of do like a 10-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute Broadway, and then you can also do something like maybe Sammy gets beaten down and then he reflects on, his AEW career, like how, he did a great job, he got a little lazy, and then also he wasn't featured that well, and then also he got himself in trouble a couple of times, and he worked with Dustin gave him a second chance, and he really wants to, go for all of it, really. There's ways to elevate Sammy Guevara, and remember, he's part of the original 4 pillars, so it would be good to kind of elevate him. Like him versus Moxley would be a great match for a Ring of Honor show, and building Guevara to another level would be good. Another person would be Damon Garcia, because building young talent, like Damon Garcia is emphatic, he does care, and if you have a really great pay-per-view card, you can do something like have Moxley versus Damon Garcia, and you can make that work. That could be a big moment for him, and really show everybody that, this is a guy that really is serious and buttoned down, and he's willing to get hardcore. Like I've said, Big Cass, betray the Jericho Appreciation Society, and I don't know, the Bad Apple, and either join Rated FTR if he wants to turn babyface, or you can turn heel and join Team FTR, take the title off of Chris Jericho, and now you have a big man wrestler who can talk, who can have some attitude in Big Cass. And Big Cass and Jon Moxley are friends in their personal lives. So I really think that you can do a lot of really great stuff, really. Or you can do something where now it's like Big Cass and Moxley, they're either heels working together, or they're like heel and babyface fighting against each other, so that would be good. Will Ospreay, a lot of people talk about how, he's kind of like the most over person on the roster. You need to actually utilize that. Hangman Adam Page, Like, Adam Page should not be feuding with Jay White, really. So you can do a match with him and Moxley. You can do a hardcore, really violent, crazy type of match, really. So I really think that that would get a lot of attention. You need to put him on the right track, or even say like one of the people in AEW that can take the title off of Moxley, if this is just hurting the ratings more, would be Adam Page. You can create some top baby faces. I know I've been a little repetitive. Wardlow, what's Wardlow doing? He can actually join Rated FTR if you want to make Hobbs a heel. Then you can bring back Ricky Starks. Obviously there's people talking about him. He's a really great talker. He has a future in AEW. You can reutilize him. You can also even have Miro, because with Miro, he has a lot of charisma. Then you have Orange Cassidy, like I mentioned. You change his character. Hangman, he wants to turn babyface, or you just make Hobbs a babyface. Pivot from Darby Allin. Like I said, he's going to Mount Everest. You don't know if he's going to come back alive. So you kind of say, okay, the story is it's going to be Hobbs. And you have Hobbs, be the champion, feud with the Death Riders, and join Rated FTR. You put him in big spots, you get him ready, and then you have another match with Moxley in the future, and it's a 30-minute Broadway, and then Hobbs wins the title. You also pivot from Jeff Jarrett, because, Jeff Jarrett should not be an AEW champion at 55, 56 years old, or he should not be getting, okay, he's feuding with MJF, he's going to beat MJF, and then he may feud for the AEW title. Like, that's just not good. Nobody really wants to see that. Think about Anarchy in the Arena. Like I've said, I would rather see a 5-on-5, but you have Marina Shafir in that, and then you have Athena or Willow Nightingale or another female wrestler. So always just think about, what are you going to do the next couple of months? How are you going to build to those big matches? And I've also said too that 100% with AEW, blood and guts needs to be a pay-per-view. Imagine if you had the Death Riders versus Rated FTR at Anarchy in the Arena, and then they have a rematch at Blood and Guts. And if they win Blood and Guts, the rule is Moxley's not allowed to have any Death Rider members ringside at the pay-per-view, at the All-In pay-per-view. That could be something. And like I said, imagine, Blood and Guts pay-per-view in June. Like, I think that would be really awesome. That would be like a really great type of, blow off and all that, really. Is that they need an early exit plan. And what that means is that the ratings keep going down and it's just not really working out. You have to say, okay, then at AEW Revolution, it needs to be Kenny Omega versus Moxley, take the title off of him. Or you can do something like you can do Powerhouse Hobbs one more time, and then you can take the title off of him at Revolution. You have to have an exit plan. Because honestly, if it's hurting the ratings, if it's killing viewership, if it's doing all these things really, then you just have to pivot. So I would say with everything that I'm saying, I definitely think the Death Riders faction is here for the long term. It's definitely going to be something where they're going to continue to all in. And then you also have to worry about, are they also going to continue it a little bit longer than that? Maybe you're going to have a Moxley versus Danielson match. Maybe at Wrestle Dream, because that would be, something that people would want to see, 1 year later with, Bryan Danielson being fire and brimstone. But again, if it's not working, you clearly need to make a bunch of changes right now. And there's a bunch of changes that they can do to make AEW more profitable and build up a lot more people and make this a bigger and better